I'm here with Senator Lindsey Graham of South Carolina. Senator, thank you.
Thank you.
For being here. Let's go right to what Condi Rice was saying, which is, let's talk a little bit about what a President Romney would be doing. Let's start with Syria. That would be different than what we see from the current president.
Well, I think he would be making the case to the American people that Syria is Iran's best ally, and the best hope we have of changing Iranian behavior beyond sanctions is to be involved in taking Assad out. If you could break Syria away from Iran, we would be safer. And by the way, we're the leader of the free world, as John McCain said, and we're not going to sit on the sidelines any longer. We're not going to let the Russians and the Chinese dictate the freedom agenda, that we're going to enter into a coalition of willing nations to arm and train the Syrian Free Rebel Army, and we're going to have a no-fly zone around some of the cities that are being decimated, and I think if we did that, Assad would go pretty quickly. I don't think there are many Syrian tank drivers going to give their lives for Assad.
So arm and train,
no-fly zone.
And no-fly zone.
Yeah.
And that's what a President Romney would do.
Oh, that's what I hope he would do.
Compare that to then what President Obama did say in Libya, where he got involved in that kind of limited way, didn't go all the way, and he was accused of leading from behind. Help us understand where Obama, who took a kind of moderate approach to Libya, gently, if compared to what Romney would do in Syria under your
The only reason he got involved in Libya is because Secretary Clinton, thank God for strong women in this administration, Ms. Rada was about to fall, and the slaughter that occurred would have been on his watch. And President Clinton said, my biggest regret is sitting on the sidelines in Rwanda. So he did lead from behind. NATO almost ran out of ammunition. Thank God it ended the way it did. But I want allies, but I want to be part of the alliance. We learned in Libya that NATO has limited capability without U.S. being in the fight. A lot of people died, got raped and murdered in Libya, more than necessary. And the good news for the Obama administration, we did get involved, and how has it paid off? When I go to Libya with John McCain, we're mobbed in a very positive way. Assad's going to go. And people say, we don't know who's going to take over. Well, hell, get to know them. Because they're going to take over one day, probably sooner rather than later. And I think they will appreciate us having been on their side at a time of their darkest hour. I want to shape history, not observe it. And that's my biggest problem with Barack Obama.
Okay. Senator Graham, thanks very much.